Kelly Clarkson, a former American Idol contestant, was managed by her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, who died earlier this month at the age of 48. He was honored recently with a unique celebration of life event. The event was recently discussed by an insider as well. Even the fact that Blackstock was honored in a location that held great significance for him was disclosed. After battling cancer, Brandon Blackstock died at the age of 48. From 2013 till 2022, Blackstock was wed to singer Kelly Clarkson. Tragically, earlier this month, it was announced that Blackstock had died of malignant melanoma at the age of 48. Blackstock had previously managed country music artist Blake Shelton and Clarkson. Blackstock's personal life included 2 children from a former marriage, Savannah and Seth, as well as 2 children with Clarkson, River, and Remington. Blackstock's daughter, Savannah, made him a grandfather as well. Additionally, he was once Reba McEntire's stepson, a legendary figure in country music. Clarkson announced on social media that she will be delaying some of her Las Vegas residency gigs just before it was reported that Elvis had passed away. She revealed at the time that her children's father was affected by a family emergency. Us Weekly had reported on a special celebration of life in his honor after his death. Brandon's closest friends and family came together over the weekend for a few days to celebrate his life in the place he loved most, according to an insider. It was quite personal. His partner, Brittany, Mary Jones, his family, and his closest friends were present, it was reported. There were also a lot of laughs remembering Brandon's pranks and sense of humor, the source said, despite the fact that it was a sad event. An earlier source discussed Blackstock's life in his last years. The gathering was held at Blackstock's house in Montana. Everyone spent time in Montana walking and hiking the roads Brandon loved so much, and to gather at his home to remember him, the person said. The Journal previously heard from a source regarding Blackstock's affection for the region. Brandon lived a pretty quiet life in Montana, it said. He preferred it that way. He had a background in entertainment, but it wasn't his style. He was in his Montana house. Only a month after his divorce from Clarkson was finalized, Blackstock bought the $1.8 million house in Butte, Montana. In his last years, Blackstock was identified in the rodeo industry as a rodeo producer, according to People. Additionally, the publication revealed that he had been cremated rather than buried. Have you been keeping up with this tale? How do you feel about the celebration of life event in Blackstock? The early September sun dipped behind the Tennessee hills, casting long golden rays across the sprawling land that had once been filled with both joy and heartbreak. On the outskirts of Nashville, in a place where music, family, and legacy often intertwined, Brandon Blackstock was laid to rest. The news came quietly, the way Brandon himself often preferred to live, just outside the spotlight. For years, he had been known as Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, the man who both shared her life and became a point of deep personal struggle when their marriage dissolved. Yet, beyond the tabloids and court filings, he had been a father, a son, and a man with his own complicated journey. A final resting place with meaning. Brandon was laid to rest on the very land he had once fought to keep, the Montana Ranch. While legal battles had placed ownership firmly in Kelly's name, arrangements were made for his burial on the sprawling property. Friends said it was a place Brandon loved deeply, calling it his sanctuary, where he could ride horses, walk under the endless sky, and escape the chaos of Nashville's music business. A family insider shared, that ranch was his heartbeat. It's where he felt free. Putting him there was the only choice. Everyone knew it was where he belonged. Though the Montana air carried the crispness of autumn, the ceremony itself was warm, intimate, and filled with personal touches. A gathering of quiet tributes. Unlike the grand public farewells given to stars, Brandon's farewell was intentionally private. Only family and a few close friends attended. His children with Kelly, River Rose, and Remington were present, alongside his older children from his first marriage. Kelly herself was not there, though sources confirmed she sent a handwritten letter to be read aloud, a gesture of respect and closure. She wanted the kids to know their father was loved and honored, a friend explained. It wasn't about reopening old wounds, but about ensuring peace for everyone. Instead of flowers, the family requested donations to a music education foundation. Brandon had grown up surrounded by the music industry. His father, Narvel Blackstock, had managed legends like Reba McEntire. Though Brandon's own career had been tied to management rather than performance, music had always been the backdrop of his world. The songs that played. During the service, acoustic renditions of songs played softly, not chart toppers, but the ones Brandon himself had cherished. A cover of Vince Gill's Go Rest High on That Mountain lingered in the crisp air, bringing many to tears. His daughter River reportedly placed a wildflower on his casket, whispering something no one else could hear. Later, his son Remy climbed onto his older brother's lap, leaning his head against his chest, too young to fully understand but sensing the finality. A complicated legacy. Brandon Blackstock's story was one of both love and loss, ambition and retreat. For some, his name will always be linked to the stormy divorce that rocked headlines and courtrooms. Yet for others, his children, his closest friends, his life was marked by laughter around campfires, long drives across the Montana plains, and a quiet stubbornness that came from being a Blackstock. Those who knew him best recalled his wry humor and the way he could tell a story with a twinkle in his eye. One friend joked at the service, Brandon could take a 5-minute story and stretch it into an hour, and you'd still listen, because halfway through he'd make you laugh so hard your stomach hurt. Kelly's silent goodbye. Though she wasn't physically present, Kelly Clarkson's words resonated when her letter was read aloud by a family friend. Without delving into their past struggles, she chose to honor Brandon for the role he played in shaping their children's lives. He will always be their father, her letter read, and in that role, his spirit lives on in them, their curiosity, their kindness, their strength. For that, I will forever be grateful. It was the closest thing to reconciliation that the two, even in different worlds now, would ever share. The ranch at sunset. As the sun sank behind the hills, the ceremony closed with a simple gesture. Each guest was given a small stone to place at the foot of Brandon's resting place. No marble statues, no elaborate headstone, just a natural marker beneath a large oak tree he used to sit under with a cup of coffee in the mornings. Children ran in the distance, their laughter piercing the otherwise heavy silence. Horses grazed not far away, tails swishing in the fading light. The ranch, as always, went on breathing in its timeless rhythm. A future without him. For Kelly and her children, life will continue in Los Angeles, where she now balances her television career and motherhood. For the Blackstock family, the ranch will remain a tether to memory. In time, River and Remington will grow to understand more about their father's life, the beauty and the flaws. They will know he rests in the place he loved, where wide skies stretch forever and silence can be as comforting as a song. Closing reflections. Death often reshapes stories. For Brandon Blackstock, whose life had been entangled with one of America's most beloved singers, his final chapter was written not on a stage or in a courtroom, but on the quiet land of Montana. There, among the mountains, he was laid to rest not as Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, but as a man who once loved, lived, and found peace in wide-open spaces. And for those who gathered that day, as the golden light finally faded into twilight, the memory of him lingered, complicated, human, but undeniably real.